Chris, how are you guys? Nice job on the plan. I guess you're going to give us a brief presentation on the plan, and we're going to have a little action on it later.
Yeah, we're excited.
Good. Steve,
Very good job.
Yeah, Steve, Liz, want to give us a little intro?
Okay. As you know, we started working on the long-range plan and the comprehensive regional plan with Luzerne County back in January. I'll get into the long-range plan a little bit later on in the meeting, but it was adopted by the MPO on February 3rd, so we met our February 15th deadline with Federal Highways. So all the documentation is now into Federal Highways and the PennDOT. Along with that, we were doing the regional plan, and Hannah has taken the lead on that. Chris has been the go-to guy with all of the data and all of the information and putting a lot of the documents together. So they're just going to go over a brief summary of the plan. Hopefully everybody's taken a look at it. It's been on the website. I know we have gotten some comments from a few of you, and the storybook will be the main part of the overall planning document, but the long-range plan and the comprehensive plan will also be done. The storybook is going to be the executive summary, which is a little bit different than we've done in the past. So with that, I'll turn it over to Hannah and Chris.
Wonderful. Thank you, Stephen. Good morning, everyone. Really excited to be with you all today. Morning. I'm going to share my screen, and it looks like I can still do that. So just give me one moment and go into. So just confirming everyone can see.
Yep.
Yes.
All right. Perfect. So again, thank you so much for having us on the agenda this morning, and many thanks to Steve. It's been a great partnership working alongside the two counties and the MPO. My name is Hannah Clark. I'm a senior planner with Michael Baker International, and I joined our team in November of 2020, actually coming from the city of Allentown. So just moved right down the street because I'm based in our Allentown office, but I had the opportunity to engage right as you guys were wrapping up the drafting of the plan, and have been able to work closely again with your management team, Steve, obviously Lackawanna, and Matt Jones and his team over in Luzerne. And Chris, as you well know, has been engaged in the entire process, facilitating the different community engagement aspects. And Chris is also going to be, or is the author of the interactive story map, which Steve mentioned. So I'm just going to jump into a few slides. Happy to pause and take any questions as we go through this, but I do know this is one item on an agenda, so going to keep this short, but always happy to bring up and talk more about any aspect. So just to ground us all, and again, as the Planning Commission, you're well aware of the comprehensive planning process. What we have completed is a comprehensive plan update to the bi-county plan from 10 years ago. And that has also been done in parallel with the long-range transportation plan that, as Steve said, was adopted last week by the MPO. So there's a great opportunity here to have the two plans talk to one another, to bring a lens of regional priorities that really speak to the development, growth, land use, and change, and how, particularly with the long-range transportation plan, how that intersects with what you want to see in terms of growth and development and management of all of that as we move forward under the comprehensive plan. So again, the benefit of working with a regional bi-county approach is that you really are addressing and looking at the various parts of a comprehensive plan across the boundaries that don't always, align so nicely with municipalities or even, within counties. So the plan, as you've seen, addresses economic development, housing, land use, transportation, environmental conservation, and it really is providing a framing vision as you move forward. Again, the regional approach is one that I know that the county is familiar with, having done it previously, and it's a really great opportunity to think more expansively about how you address and manage growth moving forward. So just to bring you to the planning process itself, as again, you all are well aware, this process launched almost at the same time as our world was changing with the pandemic in March of 2020. And so what's been interesting about this process, and something that I know now we're relatively used to, is that this has really been facilitated almost completely virtually, or I would, all the public engagement aspects have been done virtually. There was the survey that allowed the community to provide their priorities. And so I think that's a unique part of this, but also has shown the flexibility of your leadership and being able to collaborate with our team and getting this done and through the finish line. So again, this process, obviously we're here in the plan adoption. A little later in the presentation, you will see where we're headed next. Obviously today, the question and what Steve will be speaking to is having the Planning Commission make that formal recommendation to the Lackawanna County Board of Commissioners so that we can initiate the formal 45-day public comment period. So just briefly touch upon the engagement that really informed this plan and was so foundational to bringing what you have read together. I'm just going to quickly talk about, there was the regional survey, which was, there was a robust response. It allowed us to ask questions about the comprehensive plan, the long-range transportation plan, and some of the intersection of the priorities and topics that we see there. The survey itself had almost 600 responses. Their top regional priority was the economy and jobs, both, I think, influenced by very recent events, but also the changing economy of the region and how that affects how the region may grow and change. Top land use strategies included retaining college graduates, revitalizing the downtown within the urban centers across the region, and also thinking about connectivity to trails and outdoor recreation. The transportation strategies, which are mentioned and brought forth in the comprehensive plan, but then developed in a much deeper way in the long-range transportation plan, included roadway pavements, road and rail infrastructure improvements, as well as accessibility for bicyclists and pedestrians. The other aspect of community engagement included a series of focus groups, which you may have participated in or heard reports from. And these corresponded again with the different topics of the comprehensive plan and the long-range transportation plan. So before I move on, Steve, I don't know, are there any questions about this piece, or I'll move us into the land use portion.
Anybody have any questions? Okay, I think you can move into it.
All right. So obviously, what one of the big aspects of the comprehensive plan is understanding land use in the region and then creating a vision for where it is desired to go, and then how that will be operationalized through the policies, programs, and actions in the plan itself. So in terms of the current land use assessment, we're seeing, and as you see here with the urban core, there's quite a bit. Obviously, we have over 50% of agricultural open space recreation, reflecting some of the more rural nature of the region, but we have the spine in the middle of the urban core, and then some of the suburban, exurban development that's happened along that. And so when we look at the current land use and then go to the future land use map, which is featured in the comprehensive plan, we are starting to think about, all right, so if this is where we are, we know there are forces, the economic development, the shift from more manufacturing, resource extraction economy to transportation, warehousing, logistics. And what does this mean in the new industrial parks and ways that we're seeing development begin to influence, obviously, and continue to influence more so the land use in the area. So when we think about the next 10 years and what this plan is hoping to guide and frame, we want to characterize growth in the following ways. Think about the primary growth areas. This is where the infrastructure exists. This is where there's the opportunity to, not pursue a greenfield development or have to more so really build out infrastructure so it's not taxing the infrastructure systems. But in the dark orange, you're really directing and thinking about growth to get captured first in those areas. And then in the blue, the secondary growth areas where there might be some relationship more to some of the new industrial parks or other aspects of land use that are facilitating and also influencing growth in the region. And then obviously recognizing the importance of open space, agriculture, and the rural nature of much of the region. And so the rural living areas, as well as the preservation areas that, you know, obviously speak to the high quality of life and options for recreation and environmental benefits and conservation. So I would just, are there any questions or pieces of feedback anyone would like to describe here? Obviously these, within the plan itself, we speak in much more detail about defining these growth areas and what it looks like. Good, all right. So then just to take you to-
And I just want to mention that the story map, when we get into that, is going to be more interactive. So on this map, you'll be able to drill down. You know, the scales are a little bit tough when you're printing something, but they will be interactive within the document.
Yes, that is a huge benefit, and you'll be able to layer, so you can first see where the primary growth areas, then come the secondary growth areas, then the rural living areas, and Chris has done a great job, and we are excited to share that out with all of you in the very near future. So then just to take us to the final piece of the plan, which these are the regional policies that really inform the land use map, that inform the actions that the region will take to achieve the vision of the plan. So they fall into 10 policy areas and span from the housing to growth, obviously, to natural areas, agriculture, renewable energy and energy resources, and the transportation system, both in terms of ensuring that there's an option to walk, bike, if you so choose, that there are good transit connections, but also obviously ensure roadways are safe and well maintained. So, and finally, also thinking about the historical and cultural resources of the area. So we look at the 10 policies and then we put them into implementation actions. And so the implementation section of the plan takes those policies and aligns them with specific actions that are then categorized into immediate or ongoing, so items that are already underway. We then have those early action items within the first 4 years of the plan to see that really catalyze some of the longer term investment and work that is envisioned. And then finally, the actions from 5 to 12 years that are those longer term bets or longer term ways that we want to address and realize the various regional policies within the plan itself. So just to wrap up my portion, the next steps, and I know Steve will speak more directly to this, but as you are aware, the plan has been, the draft plan has been available on the website. And again, today, my understanding is the Planning Commission will be asked to make a formal recommendation to the Board of Commissioners so that you can begin the public 45-day comment period, which is a required part of the adoption process of the comprehensive plan. And Steve will be the point person for collecting those comments. We are here to work closely with you all, with the county team, and then obviously help to address and understand the comments and bring you the final plan that the Board of Commissioners will be asked to adopt. So with that, I will wrap up my portion and see if Steve, if you have closing thoughts, and obviously we're happy to take any questions or discuss anything further.
I just have one quick thing. When I was reviewing the plan, I noticed on page 59 under community utilities, it talked about the different utilities and it named the Basin Sewer Authority. It didn't say Lackawanna County, and I don't know if that's because both counties have that. But I just wanted to point that out because it named other things, but it just said Basin Sewer Authority.
Great. No, we will make sure that the naming is accurate and reflected, and Chris will definitely make a note of that. So
Thank
we'll
you.
look into it. Thank you
The
for,
Lackawanna River Basin Authority in Lackawanna County, the Wyoming Sanitary Authority in Luzerne, and I'm not sure if there's any others. May want to check with Matt or Chris on that.
Yeah, because I know I think Dallas has their own, don't they?
Yeah, Hazelton probably does. There's probably a
Yeah.
few of them.
So that's why I wasn't sure it was umbrellaed under basin sewer authorities or if, but if it was supposed to be each one named, so.
yeah, no, we thank you for that highlight. We'll make sure we have the naming updated.
Thank you.
Yes, and
Chris, if you
in
need to
Scranton and
get your
Dunmore,
list.
in Scranton and Dunmore, the sewer system is run by Pennsylvania American Water. So we're actually an authority anymore.
Yes, and I know there's some private entities and then some quasi-governmental or public entities. So yes, we'll review that with your team, Steve, as well as with the Luzerne team to make sure we're correctly capturing everything.
Anyone else have any other comments?
No, just great job. Great overview, Hannah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Excellent.
it was a great job on the plan. Very well done, very well set up. Really flowed nicely.
That's great to hear. And yeah, I just obviously I came in towards the end of it, so you had a great team working with you alongside of it. And I think when we are able to, we'll be sharing the story map soon, which Chris pulled together, and I think that will be a really great complement to that document. It will make it really accessible and
understandable for everyone who is interested and wants to engage. Thank you for the opportunity.
The formatting and graphics were excellent. It's not like reading an encyclopedia. Do you know what I'm saying? It's very easy to follow. It's spaced out, it's jumped on top of each other. You know, it's and the graphics are excellent.
Yes, thank you. And I think that's one of the goals of this plan was to really make sure that it was laid out in a way that, again, was engaging and not just paging through tons and tons of text, and you're seeing how it begins to all relate together. So we really appreciate that and really appreciate that feedback. Thank you.
Yeah, when we get into the story map, I think you'll really get a good handle on it.
Yep, I agree. Very well done. Easy read. Two comments, and maybe I'm not sure. I noticed there were two quotes, one from Pottsville or Pottstown and another from a farmer from out of the area. Don't we have any locals that quotes?
Yeah,
I must have had some worthwhile quotes for you.
Yeah. No, I would imagine that we could probably, if it feels like we want to bring in that, I think those were meant to provide some general framing. But if there are some quotes that resonate, and I think having them come from local residents, we do share often. And when you see the different sections and you see that engagement summary, those are a lot of direct quotes, a lot of direct feedback that was received throughout the engagement process. But that's a really good point. And maybe Steve can put us in touch with some.
Well, one thought, and maybe Steve or Brenda can arrange this, is to have a nice quote from maybe the chairman of the county commissioners. But anyway,
Yeah, no, Steve you can let us know. There's definitely we can present things as feels most suited. So
very nice. Anybody else have any other comments, questions, observations?
Thank you.
We're in order here for recommendation for adoption.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Very good. Steve, you transmit that to the county commissioners that we've approved it and recommend the commissioners adopt the same?
Yeah, we'll have to see when their April meetings are, and we'll be starting the 45-day comment period so that they will be able to have their public hearing. I'm not sure if they'll want to have the public hearing on the same day as their action, or if they'll do it as separate days, but we'll keep everybody informed.
Great.
Thank you.
Nice.
And just to let you know, Luzerne County's Planning Commission was going to meet this afternoon They're hopefully going to recommend to their county council. So both documents, both counties should be adopting around the same time.
Good.
Very good. Hannah, Chris, thank you very much for your time. Well done.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest
Thank
of
you,
your
Hannah.
meeting.
Great.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. Back to our original agenda here. Any public comment? Is there any public on the phone? Or guess not.
The only other one is Ted, and Ted's government official.
Very good. Oh, he doesn't count as public then. Very good. Let's move on. Everybody's had a chance to look at our minutes from our previous meeting. Is there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve them as submitted.
Harry, I'll make that motion. John Pocius?
Thank you, John. Second.
Jerry Carey, I second it.
Thanks, Jerry. All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Very good. Our minutes are approved. Let's take a look at our bills, if you would.
They were all our normal bills. If anybody has any questions, I'll answer them.
I move to approve.
Thank you. Second.
It's Cindy. I'll second.
Second by Cindy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Our bills are approved. Let's move on to our communications.
There was only one communication. There are no grants opening up, so we didn't have to worry about doing any letters of support. And the one correspondence was a little interesting. This is the Settlers View development in Jessup. Or excuse me, not the Settlers View. That was in the paper this morning.
Yeah, it was. I saw it.
Yeah, it's been a weird day. Hill Trailers, they're in the Mid-Valley Industrial Park, and about a year ago, they bought a property. They leveled it, put some gravel down, and they were storing trailers on it. The borough did not have any plans on it, although it really didn't need any land development plans because it wasn't per se a land development. But they never got any kind of erosion sedimentation control or stormwater management. So the borough made them go back and those requirements. And they sent a letter, or actually they sent the letter to us asking us to review it. And we don't have criteria to review it again, because it's not a land development or a subdivision. So we just confirmed that fact for the developers, but we did let them know that they have to go through E&S and the borough engineer for stormwater.
Good job, Steve.
Good. Any other items? Let's move on. Transportation.
Okay, transportation planning program. We had our MPO meeting last week. Again, we adopted the long-range plan, but along with that, there were a number of other resolutions that we had to adopt. We had to re-adopt a new air quality resolution. We also had to update performance measures, PM1, which is safety, PM2, which deals with pavement, and PM3, which deals with bridges. Those were all approved. We also had to do, and this is a new requirement from federal highways, we have to coordinate with the local transit agencies, which we always have, but they had to do a transportation asset management plan.
Yes.
And the asset management plan is more of a safety plan, even though it's called an asset management plan. Hazelton is not an authority. They run out of the city. It's a department of the city government. So their requirements were different than the requirements for the two authorities for Colts and LCTA. LCTA did their own plan. Colts adopted the statewide model plan, but we had to approve all three of those. One of the other things, and this is really, really new, we've actually only had one meeting. Yesterday, a resolution was put out. We're working with NEPA and a couple other entities. Over the last few years, PennDOT and Federal Highways have been requiring MPOs to do a freight management plan. We've been putting it off because of staffing turnovers and staffing changes and funding and different things. We had always talked with Alan Baranski at NEPA about doing something jointly because of the Interstate 81 corridor. He was approached by Lehigh Valley. The director there wanted to do something on their end of it. And it wound up, it's now Lehigh Valley, NEPA, LLTS, Berks County MPO, and Lebanon MPO. So we're basically, if you look at the map, it's the triangle of Interstate 81, Interstate 476, and Interstate 78. Although this plan would have to be done on a MPO level. So we're formulating that process now. We've had some discussions with the Turnpike Commission and with PennDOT. If we do this, we're looking at doing supplemental funding from the department, which they're so far wholeheartedly supporting. We're probably considering it to be about a $250,000 to $300,000 planning process and breaking it up between all of the MPOs. Worst case scenario, we would have to come up with about $10,000 for LLTS, which would be $5,000 each county, or about 12,500. So it'd be $6,225 each county, something like that, which we can handle out of our base UPWP. So we're continuing with those discussions. We have another meeting scheduled next week to further the discussion and see how we want to handle this. Lehigh Valley has offered with NEPA to be the coordinating agencies on it.
Interesting, exciting. Good.
Very good.
Any other transportation planning items? Anybody have any questions? Let's move on. Bicycle study.
Okay, at last week's meeting, the MPO also adopted the bicycle study for both downtowns that is now in effect. It will be used when PennDOT or any of the cities have any plans to do any kind of projects in their downtowns. They can incorporate the bike work into it. John mentioned they already had given the plan to one of their consultants for one of their bridge projects, and they incorporated it into the project. Want to speak on that a little bit, John?
Yeah, as you know, Harry, you were very helpful way back in the olden days, back in the 90s when I was on council and we were able to get the West Lackawanna Avenue Bridge along with a few others onto the tip. But that project failed miserably and we had to cancel it and pay back the feds for lack of progress. However, it is resurrected again with three other bridges, Parker Street, North Main, and East Elm. But so we were talking about, we're having a meeting on West Lackawanna, and I mentioned the bike study that went right to 7th Avenue, I believe, 7th and Lackawanna. So I mentioned it to STV, who's the lead consultant, and they requested if I could get a copy of it was in draft at that time. And Chris Chapman was more than obliged. He got me a copy of it. I forwarded it on to them, and they changed the superstructure to shoulders from 4 to 5 feet so they could be legally or by design standards considered a bike lane. So it's kind of like that PennDOT Connects where you don't want to do a project next to a project and they don't match up. So I thank the MPO and the county planning for their efforts on the bike study because it's already having some effect on a project going on in the city, which is how things should be done.
Good job, John. Way to go. Hey.
Well, it's not me. I mean, even an old guy could do something right every once in a while.
Good. Anybody have any questions?
Did you remember the first go round with these bridges, right, Harry?
Yeah,
You were with the county, and you helped us, advance them on the tip and everything. And that one fell off. The other ones were completed, but that one, through lack of progress, I won't mention any names or anything, but lack of progress, it failed miserably. But it's up and running again, and it's going to be, hopefully in a couple of years, we'll have a new bridge there.
Hey, John, I remember you making the statement at one of those meetings, you wanted the bridge done before the mall was built.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, they were good days.
John, I still drive over Parker Street, one lane.
Well, that's under design too, Harry, and that's going to be a brand new structure, completely new.
Good. Any other questions on our bike study? Let's move on to SAPA.
Okay, I am now Brent. Yeah, I'm now Brenda, if you can hear me, because I got kicked off my laptop. I've been having issues with the laptop all morning and it kicked me off again. So I had to get on my old computer, which doesn't have video, and call in on my phone. So I'm under Brenda's name, if anybody's wondering who it is.
That's
Well,
okay.
you're
I'm sure
multitasking,
you're
Mary Liz. You're-
Yeah, there's 3 Brendas I think we have going here. Okay, quick with SAPA. We did have a steering committee meeting on January 21st, and we agreed to push the adoptions from March to April, the window of adoptions, because most of the municipalities are behind on reviewing the ordinances. We do have a committee meeting again next week, keeping it moving. I have a phone call with EPD this afternoon because we have Newton, Waverly, Dalton, and Dunmore all ready to go with county review after tonight. Waverly is going to recommend tonight. So all those 4 are going to be coming to the county for review. Just wanted to touch base with them to make sure that I have the most current draft, because she's been going back and forth with them the last few weeks. In addition to that, they've created a link that's available just now to the municipal officials, and when you click on it, all 9 municipalities come up, and you can click on whatever municipality you want to see what the current draft is. And once everybody's in that public review period, that will be made. We'll put it on the county website. They could put it on their websites, and it'll be available for the public to look at before we have our regional meeting and then the public hearings. So hopefully, I still haven't heard anything on Scranton. I know Clark Screen's working on it. South Abington, I'm not hearing a lot from there. So those Scranton and South Abington, I'm getting a little concerned about. Everybody else is, Clark Summit's done, and everybody else is pretty much moving along. West Abington's about ready to go. They just had a couple things that needed to be added to their draft too. So that's where we're at now.
Mary Liz, as far as Scranton goes, I was talking to Don the other day. Don and I, we talk a few times a week on various issues. And we had a big changeover in the planning commission. We had 3 or 4 new appointments. So he had he shared the link with them for like a review. And I know we'll have a meeting. He'll schedule a Zoom meeting or something to get it going. But he's given them a chance to get their feet on the ground, especially with, the turnover on the commission with new members, that never, maybe all they knew was what they read in the paper. So, but, hopefully Don will be on the committee call, and you can confirm that with him, but he hasn't forgot about it, but overwhelmed. He's overwhelmed. I mean, he's the zoning officer. He's handling permits. I mean, he can't cut himself in any more pieces. You know what I mean? He's really doing a great job, but he's busy. He's busy.
Yeah. And Scranton, I know I am concerned, but I'm not concerned because I know Don knows what he's doing and what's going on.
Oh my God.
So he should be keeping them, moving along. South Abington, the planning commission, I think, and the supervisors have a little bit of a disconnect going on, and I don't know. It's in the supervisor's hands right now. I know Dave O'Neill was looking at it. I still haven't heard anything back. They had some misconceptions, but we've cleared that up, so hopefully they're back on track. I'm just waiting to hear from them. And unfortunately, when we have our Zoom meetings, it's always Len Gorney from the Planning Commission. And I'm not really sure if he knows what the supervisors are thinking.
Jerry, have you heard anything from South Abington? Any concern?
No, I haven't. My concern is Clark Screen, because I thought they were really right on target. Any conversations I've had, I said, we've already moved forward. And they said, well, they were in a position that they were going to be moving forward. And I'm surprised that they haven't.
Yeah, I know they are. I mean, I've gotten some questions and stuff, but they haven't had that last meeting yet with Carolyn to finalize it. But I'm hoping that's coming shortly. And then when you look at the window of adoptions, they will be the last municipality to adopt, because they meet toward the end of the month. And actually the night of their meeting is the very last day within that window for the advertising. So, and they did ask me, is that okay? I said, yeah, as long as you don't do it the next day. So,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they are moving along. So
good. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
Okay, good. Liz, thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you, Liz.
Comments on SAPA?
Thank you.
Hearing none, let's move on to a rail service.
So we have some good news on that front. We had our first virtual meeting in a long time last Friday. And on that, we got some good news. New Jersey Transit, first of all, is moving ahead with the Gateway project, which is the new tubes underneath the Hudson River. That was always kind of a hangup from their end, that they had no additional capacity to handle any trains from our area into New York. But they are ready to go to construction. They're in the engineering phase now of that. So hopefully within the next few years, there'll be action. And the plan is to put the 2 tubes under the river. Once those 2 are in, take out one of the existing tubes for maintenance and rehab, make that a better connection so that it'll increase capacity, and then do the last tube. So within the next 15, 20 years, we'll probably have triple the capacity under the river. Along with that, we found out that Senator Schumer from New York State is pushing to get rail service back to the southern tier of New York. And of course, that service would run through Scranton. So we have now gotten the New York delegation interested in the project. Congressman Cartwright has been working on getting New York and New Jersey together for a meeting. I'm not sure when that's going to happen, but they're going to have a meeting. There had been service in the southern tier of New York years ago, but that was discontinued when they took out the Lackawanna cutoff. So they're very happy to see us moving ahead and how far we are with the project. New Jersey Transit is also in the process of getting an RFQ together for rehabilitation of the Roosevelt Tunnel. That was one of the main impediments for them to move westward with their service. Once that's done, they'll put in the remainder of the trackage from the tunnel to Andover, the Andover station, which gets us another 7 miles closer. So hopefully within the next 6 months or so, we'll have a better handle on what's going to happen in Washington with an infrastructure bill. We have the New York delegation now, the New Jersey delegation, the Pennsylvania delegations, all in favor of the project. So we're moving along. And you probably saw in the paper a few weeks ago, Amtrak has now put it on their radar with their Amtrak futures map. So it seems like all of the stars are aligning right now for us. We have a president who's pro-rail. Secretary Buttigieg is a rail proponent. So we have the Secretary of Transportation, and we have the federal and state representatives. So I think everything is lining up.
Well, any questions for Steve?
I think, guys and girls, when this big infrastructure bill, there will be an infrastructure bill in 2021, and it's going to be huge. And this is a great spot to pop a lot of this money in there and get this project jump started. You know, I mean, the stars are aligned. We got a president that's big, and with control of the 2 houses, hopefully this can move ahead. You know.
Yeah, let's hope so. It's hard to believe. I think we started this back in the 1980s.
Oh God, it's like
1981 is
forever.
the first study.
Yeah, first study. Joe Corcoran was a big choo-choo guy. So
Yeah.
he and Molsky. Anyway, good. Anybody else? Any comments on the rail? If not, let's move on. Hazard mitigation.
Okay, the revised plan did come back from the consultant, and it's been resubmitted to FEMA. So hopefully we're waiting for that approval letter any day now. We've also submitted all the reimbursement paperwork to FEMA. So I think we had to revise the cover letter 4 times. Other than that, everything seems to be in order. And, once we get the approval from FEMA, we need to put it on the commissioner's next meeting for adoption, and then again, going out to the municipalities for all their adoptions.
Good. Everybody's on board?
Yeah.
Good, okay. Watershed, we're back. Any progress?
The conservation district is reassuming administration of the plan, or basically, starting it up again. I guess they're going to be working with Luzerne and Susquehanna counties We're going to be participating as a stakeholder. I don't know if Brenda has anything else on that, but I know it's kind of picking up again.
Good.
Just that we are going to continue to be stakeholders and participate. They're going to invite us to any of the meetings that they are having, and then anything that we can do to assist.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Anybody have any other comments on old business, concerns, questions? If not,
No.
new business, development reviews.
Okay, I'll try and get through these quickly because we're getting late into the agenda. Page 8, Lands of Marino and Greenfield Township. Greenfield is one of the municipalities that years ago required all of the plans to come from them rather than from the developers. Somewhere along the line, they decided to change that procedure. However, now they're reviewing plans and sending us their approved plans for our review, which does not meet the requirements of 247. So we just brought that to their attention. And
yeah, they think that the new way, instead of sending a letter down here that or sending it from them, they think that the planning commission signing the plan is acknowledgement to us that they've seen it instead of formally, so that's the disconnect there.
Right away.
And in this case, it didn't make a difference because there's really no major comments on the plan, but it, in the future, it could cause problems.
Steve, in my career, which spans more than a few days, there was only one. We did a project one time down in, I think it was Lehigh County, and they were very particular about making all the distributions. Most other municipalities just would rather you drop them off at the county, wherever they had to go, because, just give them acknowledgement. I mean, that's kind of the way it happens 90% of the time. 99, Steve?
Yeah. Yeah, there's only 5 towns in Lackawanna County that want the plans to come from them.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I guess that stems from, and I don't remember which one it was, but what was submitted to the township and then submitted here were 2 different plans.
Okay.
So I guess some of these want to know that what we're looking at is what they're looking at. So that's the reason behind that.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Okay, on page 23, page 24, Shoto and Rinaldi and Dunmore, they have decided that they want to revise the plan, so they pulled this one from our agenda. This has been a nightmare. It's a subdivision. It's a 2-lot subdivision. The property owners want to subdivide, and by doing that, they're creating a non-conforming lot. All they have to do is move the property line by 3 feet in one direction and 2 feet in another direction, and everybody would still maintain the same acreage, and they'd meet the requirements of the ordinance. But they don't want to do that, so now they're going to have to go before the zoning board, pay for a hearing, delay it another 90 days, and then still got to come back to us. So as of right now, they've pulled that plan.
Bob Mendola special.
Yeah. Actually, Bob wants to do it the right way, and his clients will not follow it.
Yep, I believe it. Yep.
I believe it.
You can only do what your client wants you to do. You run through that.
25, 26, Scartelli and Roth and Jefferson. Their ordinance requires a lot to have frontage on a public street. They do not have flag lots in their ordinance. However, this is a flag lot. We're recommending that it be approved, but just to draw that to their attention. And also, the plan said that the soils were shown on the map, and we didn't get the soils. So it's just an over.
You didn't turn on the layers, Steve.
Yeah, probably. And page 27 and page 30, just calling to the board's attention. We're seeing a lot of development now residentially. 26 lots at the preserve at Gravel Pond and 39 units at St. Gabriel's residential subdivision. So we're starting to see residential development coming in. And just to give the board a little idea, Last year, we brought in $31,600 in subdivision land development reviews. And so far, with only 1 week into February, we've already brought in $2,000 in reviews. And that's what revising our review package down. So,
Well. Good. Any others for Stephen?
that's it.
Good. Anybody have any questions on any of the reviews? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the development reviews.
So moved.
Thank you, John. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Rose. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion's approved. Last thing, wow, I see election of officers. Oh, cow, is it that time again?
It actually should have been last month, and I forgot to put it on the agenda.
Oh, so be it.
I will make a motion that that all the existing officers remain in place, if that's okay, if I can get a second on that.
Second.
For the question, the existing officers are myself as chairman, Rose as vice chairperson, and
Yes.
do we have a secretary?
Cindy.
Cindy is our secretary. Apologize. Cindy.
And Joe Lorenz is treasurer.
And Joe's the he's the money man. We left the guy. in charge
That's
of
why
money.
If we had any money, if we
Yeah.
had money.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor, seconded. All in favor?
I'll
Aye.
second it.
Opposed? So be it. Motion's carried.
Congratulations, Harry.
Congratulations, Rose.
everybody.
Cindy. There you go.
Joe and Cindy.
Is there any other business to come before the commission today?
I just wanted to bring up, it wasn't discussed, but I should have brought it up under the development reviews, but it's that Peterbilt site that's going to be at Stafford, right off Davis Street up there, Steve and everybody. We had a good meeting with the developers after they received our review letter, and they're going to rework some of the storm drainage and different things like that. So that project is a good project, and it's going to take them a while to get everything adjusted. So, but it looks like it's going to be more favorable with the disposition of the stormwater. That was our biggest concern.
Yeah, our major concern there was the landscaping because
Yes.
the development behind it, the residential units behind it.
Yeah, Donnie King brought that up because he grew up in Penwood Development over there, and he said, there should be buffering on the north side for any lighting or anything that's going to reflect past Kane Street up into the the residential areas. And Steve, and when we approved the subdivision, they had will serve letters from PAW for both water and sewer. There's a water line. I don't know why the engineer didn't submit them, but the water line it does service the two mini marts there that were there. So that's a small extension, but they really don't know where they're going to go with the sanitary sewer yet. So that's a little bigger issue. So, but they are inside PAW serve. They're going to have to give you the will serve letters with the final submission,
Yeah, that's fine, John.
John, is this the site adjacent to the post office?
Yes, it's kind of like when you make the left or right coming off Davis
Right.
Street over on
Mhm.
Stafford, you see
Yeah.
where they cleared all the trees?
Yeah,
They
that's what I thought.
they bought it from St. Stanislaus. No, it was Sacred. I don't know if it was Sacred Heart or St. Stanislaus. St. Stanislaus Cemetery, the YMS of our field. They sold the acreage behind that up to Stafford Avenue to Peterbilt.
Gotcha. And it's strictly going to be for what? For
It's going to be sales, service, home maintenance.
okay.
It's a rather substantial project. It's a great project, but they have some work to do. But our biggest concern was the utilities, being the sewer, where they're going to end up with that. They're going to be in discussions with PAW, whether it's going to be a sewer extension up Davis Street or maybe over the Kane because those two properties that sit up there, the two mini marts, I mean, one is now a propane sale, but there was a Sunoco and then the one on the corner.
Mhm.
They share a private force main sewer. They put it in by agreement with the sewer authority. So there's really no room in that line for these other guys. It is privately owned. And I don't think they were really aware of that. So they're rethinking which way they're going to go with the sanitary.
Okay. Thanks, John. Okay, is there any other business? Hearing none, I want to thank you all for attending today. 1 hour, we try to get out of here. Steve, Liz, Brenda, thank you so much for keeping us moving here. I'm open to adjourn. Nobody wants to make one, that's nice.
I'll make the motion, we adjourn.
Yay.
I'll second it.
Oh, wait,
Okay.
no, wait, I gotta make Bruce. Bruce, you gotta have, you're gonna second this, Bruce, since I heard from you.
I'll second that motion.
Thank
Hey,
you,
Bruce.
Thank you. Bruce.
Guys, thank you very much. We'll see you next month.
Thanks.
Okay,
Take
thank you.
care.
Great
Have
job.
a good one.
Don't forget our ice festival.
Okay.
Thank you.